All right. On this snow-filled Shabbos, let's talk for a minute about another kind of Shabbos, the kind that we try to take from email when we leave work or when we just want to unplug. You see, pre-pandemic, whenever I would send out an email to members of the shul, no matter what the season, I always got plenty of out-of-office replies back. And then there were a few months of utter and complete quiet, when every email we would send out would find someone waiting there on the other end. But as things have waxed and waned, the out-of-office replies have started to become plentiful again. But recently, I've noticed a change in tone. Out-of-office replies used to be quite standard. There was a form: I'll be away until such and such a date. You can reach so-and-so in my absence, and I'll look forward to returning your email when I return. So now, in our third pandemic year, I'm noticing a trend of much more elaborate replies. As the blurring of home and work has become ubiquitous, the pandemic has shaken something free. Some people are responding to your email with a flat-out no. Take, for example, this recent out-of-office reply. We are working remotely and will not be answering any email between the hours of 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. Or how about this doozy? I'm currently out of the office and can be reached by waiting until I get back. Some such replies have received internet fame, like the one that asserts, I know I'm supposed to say that I'll have limited access to email while I'm out of the office, but let's be real. I have my phone, it's got email, and I'll probably check. That said, I promised my wife that I would try to go on vacation. So I'm doing an experiment. If your email is truly urgent and needs response immediately, please send it to interruptyourvacation@domainname.com. If it can wait until I return, please wait. The decision is in your hands. For so many of us, we're so tapped out and trying to find a way to set some boundaries, to untangle work from home and home from work. And it's really hard. But there's something amazing reflected in these new out-of-office replies. A setting of boundaries that are actually pretty well overdue. I sent a condolence email last week, and I received this reply. I'm out of the office mourning my father. I will not be reading email sent during this time. If you'd like to reach me, please resend your email after February 1st. The man who sent this is a great rabbi, not only because he's actually a great rabbi, but because he reminds us with a simple out-of-office reply how critical it is to take time to mend a broken heart. Truthfully, even if we're in office, so many of us are walking around with broken hearts. It's no wonder that Lin-Manuel Miranda's song Surface Pressure from the animated film Encanto is climbing to the top of the pop music charts. Its character, Luisa, sings, I don't ask how hard the work is, got a rough, indestructible surface. But under the surface, I feel berserk as a tightrope walker in a 3-ring circus. Pressure, like a drip, drip, drip that'll never stop. Pressure that will tip, tip, tip till you just go pop. Who am I if I don't have what it takes? No cracks, no breaks, no mistakes. The more people I talk to recently, the more I hear Luisa's song in their words, overextended, undersupported, and trying with all their might to carry all the weight. Teachers, understaffed and overstretched, doing their best to give their best in impossible circumstances. Kids, struggling to hold it all together, to summon the resilience demanded of them every single day. Medical professionals who have been on the front lines for so long, giving their best to each battle and wondering when and how long will we be in this war. Grandparents, worried and worn out. Friends who haven't been able to renew together for much too long and find their friendships fraying, growing more distant. Parents of young children who carry the weight of 10,000 consequential decisions every single day, and the whiplash of, are the kids going to be in school or not in school, or who knows what's going to happen today. Did you catch the Globe article about the parents who gathered on a football field just to scream? What's amazing is that if you watch the clip, you can hear all those screams. And then after the screams, laughter. Because there's something really helpful about a primal scream. The truth is that this has actually been my Torah for as long as I can remember. If you've stepped into my office at some point over the years for a pastoral visit, you've probably heard me recommend finding a quiet corner in your home or going outside away from the neighbors late at night, or even like in those old car commercials about the soundproof window, going into your car and just screaming, pouring out your heart, your anger, your fear, your frustration. Rabbi Nachman, the sage of this wisdom, hitbodedut, seclusion, has this beautiful wisdom that we have to let it out. And yet, that feels, for the pandemic, like another thing to do just all by yourself. And while it's helpful, could there be something that we could do together that could help us with our sense of imbalance in our world? And so if you dig a little bit more into Rabbi Nachman, it turns out that he does not limit the primal scream to only when you are alone and when you can shout it out. He says that there's something called a silent scream. It's possible, he says, to scream extremely loudly without anyone hearing a thing. And anyone can do this anywhere. One simply pictures in one's mind the exact sound of the scream down to its tone until one is pulling up that scream with a soundless, still, small voice. And he says this is not a figment of the imagination, but a genuine scream. Just as some channels, he writes, bring the sound from the lungs to your lips, you can draw the sound channels from your lungs to your brain. Picturing the scream as a scream in one's mind, one can scream loudly with others present, and no one will hear a thing. Okay, so I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to ask you to try it. We're going to take a moment right now to reflect on what you're carrying that's heavy in your soul right now. Where is your pressure? Where are you feeling that your boundaries are being overrun? What are you holding? And hold that in your heart. And on the count of 3, we're going to try to silent scream. 1, 2, 3. How did that feel? Perhaps a bit awkward, perhaps unhelpful, or cathartic. Exactly what you need. Might feel strange at first, but the power behind this is the power inherent in our prayer service at all. Why do we come into this room to mumble together? The answer is that each of those prayers has articulation within our hearts, and when we join together, we can find some release. Beyond the scream, Rabbi Nachman teaches that if we allow ourselves to give full expression to what we are feeling, we can find a way of stilling the storms. Not the real life storms that we're experiencing today, but the metaphorical storms that we are all going through at this season. The scream sets a boundary. Ad kan velo hala. This far I can push, and beyond that, something must give. And through that acknowledgement, it lays out a new path to be gentler with ourselves under pressure. Dasi Berkowitz, daughter of our member Joel Berkowitz, and author of the National Book Award-winning finalist, Becoming a Soulful Parent, wrote this week that she never wants to hear the phrase work-life balance again. That's it. That phrase has become supremely unhelpful. Why, she says? It's an unrealistic expectation of ourselves. Perhaps, she posits, we could instead imagine work-life integration, that we could find a way to bring into each space our full self and to articulate when we need to step back from one and into the other. She says, what if we would acknowledge that what we're going through now, all of us, is hard, and lean out towards each other? Wouldn't you know it, that just this week, I ran into an out-of-office reply that did just that. Thank you for your patience, this reply began. The pandemic continues to disrupt childcare and school, and our family is back in online learning through the end of January. As a result, my response to your email may take some additional time. If you are juggling disruptions in your own care or school or health, please be kind to yourself. Ask for support and empathy. Wishing you good health and success in 2022. You see, the boundaries that we set can actually open us up to each other. When we acknowledge our vulnerabilities, can actually create a space of healing. The wisdom of Rabbi Nachman's silent scream is that we can do it, and we must do it together. When we are in, and most importantly, when we are out of the office. Shabbat Shalom.